Hi, this is Peter Arndt, physical therapist with Body Renovation Physical Therapy and Elite Sport and Spine Chiropractic. This is part of our shoulder series. For this exercise, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a lat pails and rails. It's a stretch and an activation to the muscles that prevent us from getting our arms up overhead. So what you're going to need for this is a tabletop surface or a chair surface, something for your knees to pad your knees, as well as a broomstick or something like that to hold in your hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to set ourselves up by getting our elbows onto the tabletop surface, just our elbows, and then I'm going to walk myself back so that my head starts to fall between my arms here. I'm going to hold the stick with my palms up, about shoulder width apart. I'm not going to allow my hands to collapse inward, and that's going to just hold those lats in position. And what you're going to do is as you walk back, you're going to let your head drop through. You're not going to allow your back to overly arch. You're going to keep it nice and flat. Once you feel that deep stretch, you're just going to hold this. You're going to breathe nice and easy for about 1 to 2 minutes. I know that's a long time, but we need that low load, long duration. After you've done that for 1 to 2 minutes, then you're going to turn on the muscles you just stretched by pushing down into the table with those elbows. You're going to hold that for 15 to 20 seconds. You're going to ramp that setup, starting out with a very light pressure, increasing to your max safe effort, no pain, and then backing back out of that to your least amount of pressure, nice and slow. Then you're going to do the rails, which is the attempt to lift off. Nothing's going to happen because you're at end range and you have no mechanical advantage. So you're going to try to lift off, 10 seconds, relax, then repeat the pails by pressing down. You're going to repeat each of those about 3 to 4 reps.
I'm Dr. Zach Shiels at Elite Sport and Spine. Today we are going to go over a overhead shoulder movement. So Peter just went through a nice lat mobilization to help get that overhead range of motion back. The exercise we're going to go over today is going to work on stabilizing or strengthening that new range of motion that you've gained with that lat pails and rails. So what we're going to go over is going to be a face pull with external rotation and an overhead press. We'll kind of break this down into 3 separate exercises, and depending on how you're feeling or if you're having pain with it, you can do any of the 3 steps. So what you'll need is going to be a resistance band and then something to tie that band around. So if you want to loop it around a doorknob and shut the door so it's stuck in the door jamb, or if you can find something else in the house to loop it around, that'll work great. So again, the 3 distinct movements here, it's going to be a face pull. We'll externally rotate and then go into an overhead press, back down, forward, and back to the starting point. So 3 distinct movements here. We don't want this to be just kind of a flailing motion. So you're going to face pull, externally rotate, and press up over your head and back down. One thing to keep in mind here is that you want to keep your core tight as you're doing this. So we don't want you to arch the back to try to get your arms up higher as you're coming back here. Keep that core tight, keep the ribs down. We're not flaring the rib cage at all. Keep those down. And make sure that you're doing that as 3 distinct movements. So if you are having shoulder pain with this, start with that face pull portion. Again, just like last week with that banded bear crawl, we want to make sure that we're not shrugging the shoulders up as we're doing this at all. So when you're pulling back here, we don't want it to be a shrug up here. Make sure you're keeping the shoulders down and back a little bit. Pull towards your face, externally rotate, and maybe that's where you need to start, is just pulling and externally rotating. If you're able to do that without a whole lot of pain, then you can go into that overhead press position and start to work on that new range of motion. You should feel this through the posterior delts, kind of around the shoulder blade, rhomboids, and middle to lower trap.